Hello viewers, I'm SB, and this is Total War Warhammer 2. We've played a lot of this on the channel, but a new DLC has come out, and that means it's time for a new campaign. So the DLC that came out today is called The Shadow and the Blade. It's very focused on a storyline between this Dark Elf assassin man here, Malice Darkblade, and this Skaven assassin man, Deathmaster Snikch, and I'm sure that all the stuff they have going on is fascinating. But we're actually going to go back and play a character who came out a little while ago instead.
Ikit, engineers death.
Yeah, that guy. That's what he engineers. I think Ikit Claw is a super cool character. I'm way into the Skaven mad science stuff, and we haven't played Skaven since Total War Warhammer 2 came out. It was the very first thing we did, and their mechanics have changed tremendously since then. They have this whole under Empire thing, which is way more fitting with the way they work in the setting lore, where they build cities underneath people's other cities. They have a lot more of their like mad scientist weapon team stuff, the rattling guns, the Jezzails, flamethrowers and stuff. I'm very excited to check out Ikit Claw and Clan Scryer and all of their insane techno-magical nonsense. So let's get in here. We're going to be playing on very hard, very hard. Frankly, Total War Warhammer 2 is not a terribly difficult game. I don't play on Legendary, though, because as far as I'm aware, the only difference between Legendary and Very Hard is that in Legendary you can't pause and issue orders in battle, which doesn't actually make the battles harder to play, it just makes them harder to talk about. So I don't figure it's worth putting on. So let's get in here. If you are not familiar, we are playing Mortal Empires today. If you are not familiar with what that means, that is the big strategy map that combines the world maps of Total Warhammer 1 and Total Warhammer 2 into one grand campaign. It might take a little while. It might be kind of a long series. If you have never seen Total War Warhammer 2 before, do not worry, you won't be left behind. Frankly, the game's not all that complicated. We will explain things as we go. The Chief Warlock of Scryer is back in Skavenblight. Following another of his secret-stealing tours of the world, Ikit Claw has returned to be given the position of chief emissary of the clan. The bionic Tinker Rat has only one plan on his mind, however, to bring an apocalypse to the world beyond Skavenblight's swampy borders, aided by the most infernal custom-built weapons ever devised. Listen, I know that in a setting full of bad guys, the Skaven are the bad guys. Well, debatable. The Dark Elves do have a society that's built entirely on slavery. That's probably actually worse. But the thing about the Skaven is they're so much fun. They're a good fun kind of evil, as opposed to the Dark Elf evil, which just kind of makes me sad. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there's not that many lightning guns in the real world. You know, it's a kind of evil I don't personally have to wrestle with. All right, they're going to do a real slow flyover, but I already turned off the VO, so let's just skip that. Alright, how they play. Clan Scryer. The Skaven can lurk beneath any settlement or ruin, growing their empire by either occupying regions or establishing undercities beneath them. Left undetected for too long, their malevolent scheming can result in hordes of vermin rising up to corrupt the land, or assault illustrious cities without warning. We would never assault a non-illustrious city, obviously. Clan Scryer are also able to use any of their undercities to assemble a Doom Sphere, a weapon of mass destruction with the potential to level an entire settlement. We also have a Forbidden Workshop, which lets us go crazy with our ideas. I do love to go crazy. By spending warp fuel and food, they can develop and upgrade the most powerful war machines, weaponry, and weapon teams known to Skaven kind, including the devastating Doom Rockets, which we started with one of as a part of our faction bonus. Skaven factions require a stockpile of food, each army consuming an amount of food per turn. Food may be acquired from battles, by sacking settlements, and through certain buildings. And the Skaven also spread Skaven corruptions. There's multiple different kinds of corruption. We'll talk about the corruption mechanic in a little more detail when it starts mattering. But the most important part of Skaven corruption to understand for our purposes is that Skaven corruption lowers public order for everybody, including our own faction settlements. But it also gives us uses of the Menace Below army ability, which allows us to summon rats up from underground. So basically the amount of Skaven corruption in a region represents how extensively we've tunneled underneath it, and how full those tunnels are of Skaven who are willing to come to our aid. So let's have a quick look at what makes our faction our faction. First of all, we have access to the Forbidden Workshop, of course. We have a higher research rate than other factions. We have a little bit of bonus loyalty, which we'll talk about later. And we have a lower construction cost for engineering class buildings. In addition, our warlock here... hold on, how do I do this? I want to select his army. Here we go.
Chief Warlock, Ikit.
I want to click on him. His personal stuff is... Okay, he doesn't have too many personal traits. He gives plus 10... He has plus 10 armor, he has plus 10% weapon strength. He's just, like, actually a pretty good fighter, considering that mostly he's a wizard and engineer. But, you know, legendary lords are like that. He also apparently does over 1,000 missile damage. This is a large number. Alright, we'll figure out what his deal is when we get into our first big battle. So let's take a moment and assess our situation. We start here in Skavenblight, surrounded by enemies. To our east, the Tillians. To our south and west, the Estalians. These are human empires. They do not like us. We start at war with the Estalians, it looks like. To our north, we have this mountain range. Beyond the mountain range, Bretonia, which is like magic France, basically. Over here, there's some orcs. Right here, at the edge of Bretonia, and probably something we're going to have to care about a little bit, is a magical elven forest full of very, very angry elves and tree spirits. That's going to be a problem for us in the near future, I bet. Basically, it's all bad. Nobody likes a Skaven. That's alright. We're gonna figure this out. We also started with a character. What are you? You are a warlock engineer. Okay, I think probably we're going to want to just fold him right into this army. So this is a hero. Heroes can run around on the map and perform map actions like stealing technology from your enemies or wounding enemy heroes that are running around. But they can also be folded into armies and used as a military unit, and each one of them has a thing that they do while in the army. This guy increases the movement range of his army by 10%. Movement range is one of my favorite things in the entire game. It's one of the best stats, so I'm happy to have him around. And when he joined up the army, he brought his pet wolf rat, which gives him an 8% bonus chance to succeed when assassinating people. Not immediately relevant. Well, we start in movement range of the Estalian city of Tabaro, and I mean, I can't see a reason that we would do anything other than march over here and destroy the hell out of it. Actually, I'm not 100% sure what we'll do with it, but we'll certainly defeat it, and then we'll figure it out later. So we have our Doom Rocket available. I don't know how hard it is to get more of these, so we probably won't use it here. We're going to save this for a big battle. We can also get charges of the Menace below. Right now, this region has no Skaven corruption, so we get no charges by default. But we can spend food, which we have 52 of right now, to lure additional rats to the battlefield. I don't think it's going to be necessary this time. We probably have this under control.
No contact.
Let's get in here and murder some humans. This is going to be a common sight, us just showing up with an overwhelming number of dudes and murdering a bunch of humans. So they got a bunch of basic swordsmen and spearmen. We have units that I didn't even really bother to look at because I assumed our army would be good enough. Now I'm wondering if I should have paid a little more attention. That's alright, we'll get into battle here and I'll show you what's what. This is a game, if you are not familiar, it has a big strategy battle map. It sort of looks like a 4X or something, but this is a game that is very much about the battles and the battle engine. So we started with 20 Winds of Magic. We're allowed to gamble and have that number increase or decrease randomly. I think I'm fine with 20. Winds of Magic is the resource that we use to cast spells. So we have a couple of characters with a couple of spells. A Howling Warp Gale, some Warp Lightning. We're going to be using a lot of Warp Lightning this battle. Yeah, we have two Warlocks who know about Warp Lightning. Your whole army shares the same pool of magic resource, so it's not actually super helpful for us to have 2 Warlocks, but again, movement speed. So what are we actually looking at here? What do we have dudes-wise? First of all, the Clan Rats. These are just crappy little melee troops. They have crummy little swords. Do these ones have shields? Nope. They're just terrible. These are really bad melee units. I would expect a unit of Clan Rats to probably lose straight up to almost anything any other race can field. But they're not as bad as the Skaven Slaves. These guys are truly horrible. Like, really, really, really bad melee units. They didn't even bother to wear armor. Some of them are almost naked. You guys... Alright, preparation, not our strong suit. But, because we are the special weapon team and mad scientist faction of the Skaven, we also have some fancier stuff. These dudes, the Jezzail teams, have these incredible sniper rifles. Can we turn on the unit cards, please? So when they shoot an enemy, they break the enemy's shield, removing their ability to parry missiles for a little while. And of course, they have the standard Skaven stuff where they're really good at running away. It is a thing of Skaven that our units are cowards. All of our units are cowards. There's going to be a lot of breaking and fleeing and cowering. So we want to set up in a position where we can take advantage of the Jezzail's nice long line of sight. How flat is the ground here? It's pretty flat. I'm happy about that. We actually could set up... There's a little bit of a hill behind us. Set up right here and take advantage of this slightly raised area. We also have a team of Rattling guns. A Rattling gun is a Gatling gun, but it's operated by rats. You know, Rattling gun. So that's just going to be a huge number of projectiles. Accuracy is a problem. But at some point, if you're just firing enough lead, it doesn't matter whether or not you're hitting with every projectile. Every 10th will do. Every 100th will do. Again, I think we want to take advantage of the nice flat terrain over here. I want to kind of get away from the trees a little bit. And then we're just going to set up our melee units loosely behind the Rattling team. I'm going to make the enemies come to us. I don't want to set up in front because the Rattlings will probably not fire if our guys are in front of them. It might seem intuitive to have your melee troops protect your range, but you got to manage your line of sight here. Okay, we'll just do it like this. This seems fine. The human army has nothing particularly fun in it. So what is the range of our guys here? Alright, Jezzail teams will have a shot soon. So above units, you see, first of all, the flag indicating their unit type and their faction. And above that, a red health bar and a white leadership bar. As bad things happen to a unit, its leadership will decrease. If the leadership gets low enough, the unit will panic and run away. You're going to see our units do that a lot because, again, cowards. Oh, I didn't even talk about our Doomflayers. These are Doomflayers. They're like motorcycles with a blender on the front. I don't really know a lot about Doomflayers, but we're going to have them roll out to the side here. Some Jezzail fire. We're going to roll the Doomflayers out to the side. I want to see if we can distract some of these enemies and get them running around. And if not, if they just keep marching toward my own units, then we will gladly charge them in the back as they approach. So you can see the leadership bar decreasing rapidly. Taking ranged fire decreases your leadership. Nobody likes to get shot at. Deaths also decrease leadership, as you might imagine. Okay, this seems like a good moment to have you guys march forward. I don't think we actually have to have anybody engage with these swordsmen. It looks like they're just going to get distracted and stand around in front of the guns a lot. Alright, and now that we've had the enemies properly join battle, let's try out some Warp Lightning. And now, while their formation's broken up, let's see what these do. That's a lot of blood. That was like a tremendous amount of blood. Alright, where's the other Warlock? There is a cooldown on the magic spells. Warp Lightning doesn't have a very long cooldown, but having two Warlocks will at least allow us to cast it a little bit more frequently. Alright, I'm going to have our weapons team move out like this. We're going to shoot into the flanks of these guys. We probably have... Yep, we have Warp Lightning available again. Let's just shoot some more Warp Lightning. Let's have the Jezzails focused. You can see after units run away, they will sometimes take a moment, get a breather, and get some of their leadership back and decide to come back into the battle. So let's make sure the Jezzails prevent that from happening. If at any point the enemy army is all in the broken and fleeing state at the same time, you immediately win the battle. Which is what happened there. It is very, very rare that battles come down to everybody on one side being dead. Mostly, one army will get beaten very badly and then retreat. So we took almost no losses there, which is pretty impressive considering how bad our melee units are. But there's a lot to be said for having guns when the other army has not yet invented guns. This is the Empire. They could have had gun troops if they'd wanted to. Their gun troops wouldn't have been as fun as ours, but they could have had some. Swords and spears, not a good matchup for the gunpowder. So as our units get kills, they will gain experience and they will level up, and leveled up units have higher stats, as you might imagine. For ranged units, I believe the biggest benefit of leveling up is that they get more accurate, which dramatically increases their killing power. So I'm hoping we're going to get to level up our gun teams pretty quickly, and the fact that they're taking such a large lion's share of the kills suggests that that will happen. In addition, characters, as they gain XP, will level up and get skill points, and then each character has a big skill tree, which you saw briefly, Ikit Claw's skill page. We will figure out exactly what we want to take on those as the campaign goes on. In addition to new characters and new factions and new units for the Skaven and the Dark Elves, the DLC also came alongside a patch that promises to dramatically accelerate the time that it takes for the AI to take their turns. The biggest problem with Mortal Empires, the great big combined game map, as a mode, is that it really, really takes a long time for everything to happen. Boy, I was not expecting loading out a battle to take this long. You know, it's possible that I at some point moved this game off my SSD back onto my hard drive. I'll make sure that that's fixed before the next episode, because this should be a pretty fast process. We're going to be loading into and out of battle a lot, so it's important that it be smooth. Once we get back to the campaign map here, I have mechanics to explain. Come on, loading bar. You're killing the mood here. So, we've defeated the garrison. We get some food. Don't think too hard about where that came from. We get a little bit of loot. We get some XP for our characters. And we also get to decide what we want to do here. So we can just occupy the settlement. We can spend food to make the settlement higher level. But I'm not sure that this is what we're going to do. We can just sack the place, steal a bunch of stuff, run away. Leaves the city in a pretty bad place, but still standing. We could just burn the thing to the ground, or we could expand our under-empire. Do not capture the settlement, but instead establish an undercity beneath it without the owner's knowledge. I don't know if we would want to do this. I kind of feel like I want to take over this province, because I know that the Estalian capital is here, and it has a very large and valuable port. So you know what? We're gonna take over the city. Let's talk about food a little bit. You can see here we have this big food bar. We are producing a certain amount of food each turn and then consuming a certain amount of food each turn. Right now, we have no production and no consumption, but we are gaining 9 this turn from the people we captured in the battle. If we, at normal food levels, all we get is a small growth to our population, or a small bonus to our population growth. If it gets low, it starts to have some significant penalties. So I want to be a little bit careful about the spending here, but if we took this place over at level 3, it would just drop us to food shortage. We could fight our way back up from here. I'm okay with this. Alright, we got ourselves a Razor Standard, which is a thing that we can assign to one of the units in our army to give it some armor-piercing damage. And we got some level ups. So you can see here, all of these boxes with the little circles at the side are places we can put skill points. The number of circles tells you how many skill points you can put in for escalating effect per point. The first thing we're going to take on Ikit is campaign movement range, because it's the best stat by a huge margin. He has lots of other interesting stuff, and we're going to look at it later when we have more skill points. And then our Warlock Engineer also has the ability to take bonus movement range. I mean, I really think we oughta. It's very, very good. Alright, this army is fast as hell, and that's exactly what we need. So, let's talk about settlements. We've taken over this Estalian settlement. We've taken it over at level 3, thanks to our food production. You can see this does give us a bonus to our food output. It also means that we have access to the building slots in the settlement. The number of building slots you can build stuff in is based on the level of the core settlement building, so we have all of these unlocked because we took it at level 3. This city has a port, which we damaged in the fighting, but we'll go ahead and repair that. And then we can build some other stuff here. So right now, my first thought is we should put up a garrison building. We should expand the fighting force that is here at the town so that it doesn't get taken from us as easily as we took it from them. And then I think also probably a building that is focused on growth. Yeah, okay, let's build a rattling warren. Don't worry about what all this stuff all this stuff means just yet if you're not familiar. We'll explain it all as it becomes relevant. So this gives us a little bit of income, which is important. Gold still matters for the Skaven. It also gives us growth. You can see down there, right below the tooltip for this, the growth box in the settlement window. Growth is how you expand your settlements. I'm in a real mindset of growth being the most important thing because growth is how you level up the main settlement building and get access to all the building slots. But we took this over at max level. We don't actually need the growth. That's weird. I'm gonna have to recalibrate my brain for playing Skaven. So if we don't need growth, what do we want? We do have to deal with public order. You can see right now public order is pretty bad on account of the huge battle that happened in the town. If public order is low enough, if the current public order value reaches -100, a rebellion will spawn. Another Skaven clan will rise up against us, or the humans will try to take their town back or something. We don't have time for rebellions right now. So I might want to just build a public order structure here. I'm just thinking we need to not have to station an army here, right? If the place is rebelling constantly, we'll have to leave an army behind to quell that, and I don't want to deal with it. Okay. So we're working on the public order there. Hopefully that'll come along. Let's look at the capital. In the capital, we have a warpstone telescope. It's a tractor beam. Huh. Research rate up, Skaven corruption up in the region. Lets us recruit all of the basic units. If we get the settlement to level 3, we can upgrade it to a warpstone tractor beam. So we are attempting to pull the moon out of the sky, I believe, is why this was built in the lore. And that gives us access to some of our cool weapons teams. Right now, we have Jezzails and Rattling guns, but we can't build any more. If they were to die, they'd just be lost forever. Obviously, that would be bad. We do have enough population surplus to upgrade the main settlement building. You can see here the amount of surplus population you have in order to upgrade it. I'm inclined to think that's the most important thing we could do at this moment. Again, this will unlock more building slots, and it will also let us build more complicated things. Right now, we can only build stuff in the Tier 1 row, but in Tier 2, we get access to a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So yeah, let's prioritize that. We're a little low on cash at the moment, so we could build a cash building. Honestly, maybe a good idea. And you can see here, from Tabaro, most provinces have multiple settlements within them. Skavenblight is a province unto itself. Anytime you control an entire province worth of settlements, you could issue a commandment in that province. And the commandments are just free bonuses, like we could get a little bit of extra public order, or we could get more growth to make it easier to expand our settlement. My inclination is to go for the growth commandment here, because we want to get Skavenblight leveled up as quickly as possible. Once it's max level, we're going to have access to all 12 of these building slots, and that seems like incredibly important. We are going to have public order problems back here. Alright, let's have a look at all these buttons. First things first, objectives. How do we win the video game? First of all, we have to maintain at least 50% Skaven corruption across all of our provinces. We'll talk about it. We also have to have... There also has to be 50% Skaven corruption in all of these provinces, whether we own them or not. So this is a lot of the major provinces of the Eastern world. Talsin, In Edri Eternos, Widrioth, and Arguelon are the Elven forest provinces. Over here we have most of the Bretonnian lands. Jufbar is dwarf country. Silver Road and Blood River Valley, I believe, are also... Yeah, that's all dwarf country. And then Western Sylvania and Eastern Sylvania is where all the vampires live. We must also see the Wood Elves, most of the Bretonnians, the Pirates of Sartosa, just a lot of people have to die. We must also control 17 of the following settlements, 17 of the settlements on this list. These are like the great world capitals. We have to prove that we could take over most of the world if we really felt like it. And we also have to have 100 total units in our army. It's going to take a while to fulfill some of that. We also have here a diplomacy window in case we wanted to engage in some diplomacy. Not a thing that we're probably going to be doing a ton of. The Beastmen kind of like us, though. Do we have a non-aggression pact with the Beastmen? Listen, we're very murderous and they're very murderous, but we recognize that we'd probably get a lot more murdering done if we murder people together instead of being at each other's throats. We also have here our technology tree button. Right now, we cannot research any technologies because every one of these technologies that has a little red building next to it requires a particular building to unlock. Fortunately, we are currently building a... Where am I? Where am I relative to my empire right now? Way over here. Okay. We are currently building this Taskmaster's platform, which has this symbol indicating that it unlocks one of those techs. So what does the Taskmaster's platform give us? This one. Ruthless plans for extra food, and then once we've got this, we can expand forward. But in order to get to the deep parts of the tree, you can see we're going to have to unlock a couple of buildings and work the tech tree forward slowly. Here we have our rites. These are special rituals that we can perform with some large effect. Obviously, they, first of all, have to be unlocked, and then whenever we want to run them, we have to pay a cost. So this will unlock after issuing the expansionist planning commandment over a province. We could probably... Is that the one that we're doing? Yes, okay. So this will go into effect next turn, and then that right will unlock. This one requires us to get to level 7 with our faction leader. We're working on it. Here we must construct a pestilent nave, and here we have to research 3 technologies. All of that is stuff that will happen. Here we have our Skaven corruption view. You can see this region is 100% Skaven corrupted. If we were to fight an enemy here, we would get so many free charges of menace below. However, we are taking -5 public order from all the Skaven. The thing about Skaven is they're incredibly treacherous. Mean, stupid, and treacherous. And so there's a lot of infighting that goes on. And finally, we have the Forbidden Workshop. This is something that only Ikit Claw gets access to. Let's see what this actually does. So we have a tab devoted to each of our types of weapon units, and a tab devoted to the Doom Rocket itself. So we can build more at a cost of 4 warp fuel and 5 food. We started with 5 warp fuel. How do we get more? Ingeniously concocted from various liquefied materials, can be collected following battle victories, while searching ruins, and from agent actions. Okay. Boy, I sure am curious what it's made of. So what else can we do with it? We can increase the winds of magic available to our armies. We can make it so we can have more Doom Rockets. We can have 5 sitting around right now. This is a low priority. We can double our chance to recover warp fuel after using a Doom Rocket. That seems like a good idea. Casualty replenishment rate plus 10% after using a Doom Rocket. Okay, so here's the thing about Skaven technology. Anything you see on a Skaven that has this sort of color is at least partially powered by Warpstone. Warpstone is a kind of magical rock that the Skaven are way into that's like a combination between methamphetamine and uranium, but also magic. They love it. They eat the stuff, they bathe in it, they sleep on it. It has powerful mutagenic properties, which is where this bonus regeneration is coming from, and it also makes you completely insane if you spend too much time around it. So, that's the explanation for why a lot of stuff about the Skaven works in kind of a counterintuitive way. They have a magic superfuel that also is killing all of them. Refined Warpstone gives a bonus chance to build an extra Doom Rocket. That seems really powerful. And Doom Rockets cause additional damage over time. We're going to have to actually see how a Doom Rocket works before we have any idea how good that is. What can we buy for our other dudes? For our Rattling Guns, we could get an onboard waste compactor, which gives ammo replenishment. Oh, that's pretty cool. Newfangled invention enables on-the-spot conversion of metal scraps into bullets. And then we have to level up our workshop somehow. Is this how we do that? Develop upgrades within this panel to gain additional benefits and unique regiments of renown. So those are special military units. When we level it up enough... Oh man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Alright, what about the Jezzails? As long as there is no enemy within 70 meters, get plus 15% armor-piercing missile damage. That's also very cool. I'm not really sure what we want to use. Ghillie fursuits. Boy, that has a meaning in the real world and then a different meaning here, apparently. So this would make us very hard to see and very hard to shoot at. This would give us, wow, plus 25% armor piercing damage and plus 12% range. Given how great their range already is, a percentage boost seems very significant. I will worry about the bonuses to warp grinders and warp fire throwers when we have some. The Doom wheel is a big it's a big rodent wheel with a magic laser on the front of it and also blades everywhere, because everything about the Skaven is simultaneously incredibly stupid and incredibly cool. Oh, wait, I had been assuming when we looked at this, I thought this was a bar that was increased, like that applied to the workshop as a whole, but each of these tabs has a separate advancement bar. Jeez. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Doom Diagnostics gives us a pretty big bonus versus infantry. Warp Flares will give us randomly cast Warp Lightning while in melee combat. Causes minor magical damage, strong versus multiple combatants. That seems very good. Obsidian Alloy will strengthen our weapons and give us a higher melee attack. So melee attack is your chance to hit an opponent with your attack, while weapon strength is the damage you deal when you hit. And Aerodynamics, because Skaven, gives us Vanguard deployment and bonus speed. Vanguard deployment allows us to deploy the unit outside of our normal little deployment rectangle in battle. That lets us put them, like, start the battle in flanking positions or something. That's also pretty good. This all seems really powerful. We're going to hold on to our warp fuel for a minute here, because I don't know what I want to do with it yet.
Zap, zap.
Which means that I think, hey, we're finally done with the first turn. Yeah. Alright, let's hit enter. We spent all our money. We did some murdering. Miragliano here is the capital of Tilia. Miragliano is also a very valuable port. They are going to get mad at us soon. They don't really, they don't love the Estalians, but they also don't love people who murder all of the Estalians. And so we're going to be drawing their ire by going on our campaign of conquering. But we are going to go on our campaign. Oh, here's some beastmen. Hey guys, we conquered this already. If you guys could maybe go do something else, that would be great. Listen, they could keep the Tilians busy. One thing that makes the beastmen great allies for us is that beastmen do not like to live in cities. If they conquer an opposing city, they'll just burn it to the ground and then keep running. They have a very nomadic, like, horde-based lifestyle. Wow, those turns are really going faster. They were not joking. So every flag that you just saw fly past at the top of the screen there is a faction. There are just about 1 million factions in the Mortal Empires map. I mean, look at the size of it. What we've seen right here is a tiny, tiny little corner of the world that we will be going forth and conquering. Alright, we've unlocked our dominating scheme. Provoke the broodmothers, have them breed. We will flood the overworld with our bodies. Yes, yes. I think the doubled words is probably an effect of the warp stone. The fact that all the rats are constantly on magic radioactive speed. So what is this right? This right costs 3,000 gold, but it gives 3 food per turn for 5 turns, and also a massive growth bonus and a massive public order bonus, and cheapens recruitment. That's pretty good. It's not something we'll be doing right now, because we need to generate more food. We're slightly negative on food now, because we have more settlements, which means that we have dropped down into the starving area. We gotta go win a battle or something. Oh hey, we have a piece of magic armor already. Our iron frame. This is where all of those combat stats were coming from. In addition to that, we have other magic items that will be unlocked as we continue to level up. You can see at level 8, we'll get a quest for the Storm Demon. Alright, let's go fight some Estalians. We gotta make something happen here. Actually, we don't have a lot of recruits. We need more bodies. So we're gonna move to the edge of our territory. Where is the edge of our territory? Hold on a second here. I'm looking for the border between us and... here. Okay, here's the borderline. So it gets really faint as it goes up, but I think we're... Okay, here it is. So we're still in our territory all the way up to here. The settlement building gives us basic recruitment. Yeah. Okay. So, you can recruit additional units into your army as long as you are within your territory. We're going to move as far as we can here, and then go into mustering mode. Let's pull in some crummy Skaven. We basically just need guys to stand at the front of the battle and keep enemies away from the Jezzails. So we'll grab some of them. You can see we have 3 recruitment slots right now in this army. There are things we can do that will expand that number. And then each unit has a cost to recruit, a cost you have to pay them per turn to keep them in the army, and a recruitment time. Better, more complicated units cost more and take longer to recruit. Right now, all we have is garbage. So let's recruit a turn of garbage. Magritta has an 8-unit garrison with an 8-unit army in it, and it also has walls. Little crenellations on the top of the name tag here tell you that this is a walled city. So it will not be so easy to take over. But we're going to try a Doom Rocket. We're going to go over there and just drop a Doom Rocket on them. And we don't really have anything to do anywhere else. So we're still suffering pretty badly on public order. I'm going to turn off taxation for this province. Obviously, that makes the province produce no income for us, but it also removes 4 points of public disorder. And we're just going to hope that this gets us to a good enough place, because we're in pretty dire straits there. Here, it's also bad. I think I'm going to turn off taxation here as well. Yeah, in 2 turns, when this is a nest layer, we're going to use one of these extra open slots to build another public order building. We will not get the 80 points of income from this. Man, maybe I need to leave this turned on. Well, we'll turn it off for right now. We're still generating 1358 just from our base background income, because all of our stuff is pretty cheap so far, income-wise. And we'll maybe turn that back on next turn to take advantage of the building we built. We really are going to need a lot of money. I believe Skaven have a pretty battle-based economy. A lot of our money is going to come from looting, stealing the things that other people have built, because it's easier than building our own things. These beastmen don't really seem to be doing anything of value right now. They're just running towards Skaven Blight. Which theoretically they could attack. I think the AI is somewhat unlikely to attack us because of the non-aggression pact. But honestly, if they thought they could take Skaven Blight, I'm not certain that they wouldn't burn it down just to burn a thing down, because that's how beastmen roll. We discovered Goros Heartrender setting an ambush. Yeah, he better be setting an ambush for some humans. Wait a minute. Why did that not recruit? Oh, for some reason we lost a local recruitment capacity between last turn and this turn? Not really certain what happened there. Okay, well, don't sit there and recruit. We don't need those guys that badly. So you can see here, they're in the mustering stance. They are recruiting as well. So they have 18 units plus walls against our 11 units. It might not be a good idea to roll over there even with the Doom Rocket. Pretty curious, though, about what the Doom Rocket actually does. So we now have the ability to research devious plans and ruthless plans. I think we're going to need food. How did we unlock devious plans? I don't even... Does it show on it what it was unlocked by? No, it used to have a building lock. Must be something that we finished. Oh, it was this, wasn't it? Yep, unlocks technology devious plans. Okay, well that's totally why I did that, obviously. Do we need to switch to the public order thing? The thing is, the public order commandment doesn't even give enough to offset. Like, no, it doesn't matter. We're not going to bother with that. We're just going to keep growth on and try to get this place set up as quickly as possible. So maybe we do want to do another turn of recruitment. This here is our Regiment of Renown menu. These guys will unlock in various ways as we complete the campaign. We could go to the weapon team thing, get the onboard waste compactor so that our Rattling gun has infinite ammo, and then just try to defeat the human settlement using infinite bullets and also a Doom Rocket. Maybe. What do we get for leveling up here? So I'm going to assume each upgrade we buy fills one of these bars. So after 2 bars, we get an incendiary round bonus that we can assign to 1 unit. Bonus damage and makes their attacks flaming, which is a thing that flaming attacks doesn't do anything by itself, but there are some units that are weak against fire. Particularly anything that has regeneration tends to be weak against fire. And then eventually we would unlock a Regiment of Renown, and then another Regiment of Renown, and then a final Regiment of Renown. That makes me feel like we want to spend our Warp Fuel upgrades in this panel first, because this is where we get a bunch of units. There's a Regiment of Renown at the very, very end of this one. Although it has some cool upgrades on the way. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and do this. This is how we're going to spend some Warp Fuel. I mean, if we spend time recruiting, they're also going to spend time recruiting. You know what we could do? We could go to Bilbali. Bilbali is part of this province. Yeah, let's do that. So let's talk about stances. The default Skaven army stance is stalking. This is just normal movement, and every time you attack another enemy in the field, there's a chance you will come out of nowhere and ambush them. But we have access to a bunch of other stances. One thing that we can do is we can use the Underway. This lets us travel underground and so ignore the movement penalty of various terrain features like this river and this forest. If we switch into Underway movement, yeah, we can just jump all the way over to like here. And then we can push Bilbali next turn. We'll see how the Estalians respond to that. My goal here really is to lure the Estalian army out of Magritta. We are not doing well on food. We gotta eat some people. +1 food per turn is actually going to be very helpful. See, the different shape of the banner of the faction banners tells you what race they are. Basically, the Pirates of Sartosa are Vampire Coast, which means they are undead pirates. These ones I can't even talk about what the different shapes mean because they're flying by so quickly. Over time, you will learn them. Over the course of this campaign, you will learn them all. Oh. Well, we've lured out their army, in the sense that we set ourselves into an ambush because we didn't realize how many of these guys were around. Okay, we are required to fight. There is no escape because they caught us in the Underway. They have mostly a bunch of normal swordsmen and also some guys with pistols on horseback. A couple of units of crossbows. Well, I'll tell you what. I know we're in a dire position on food. We are going to need the menace below. I don't actually know what happens if you go to negative food. Can you go to negative food? Does it bottom out at 0? I think it bottoms out at 0. Yeah, okay, we'll do this. This is 5 extra units of clan rats during the battle. They're not real clan rats. They will degrade over time. And then also we have this thing. This banner is not quite as good as it looks. It gives +10 armor piercing damage, but this only applies to melee attacks. This is not missile damage, so it doesn't do anything for our good units. So we're either going to want to put it on the clan rats, or I guess we could put it on the Doomflayers. The Doomflayers are already pretty good at this stuff. They have +24 armor in melee because who would even be able to hit them? I'm just going to give the Razor Standard to this unit of clan rats. They're going to have to do a lot of holding here.
Race, no contest.
Alright, let's see what's up with Marcus Hammerheim. We might lose this battle. We totally might. If we do, it will not be the end of the world. It will annihilate our only army in the field. We will lose our weapon team units, which I would be sad about, but a loss here is 100% recoverable. That said, we're absolutely going to apply our Doom Rocket, because we're going to have a lot of humans gathered up in a tight space in the tunnel, and I think this might be optimal testing. So we probably want to save the Doom Rocket until we have engaged them in melee, so that we can't miss with it. I don't know what the wind-up time on it is. I assume it's going to be fairly significant. You can see that these Underway battles they take place on fairly simple battlefields. It's just like a narrow tunnel. The tunnel is a massive advantage for us because we have better ranged weapons than they do. It could be better. Eventually, we'll have a lot more weapons teams, obviously, but still, this is a pretty good start. The only problem we have is that individually, each of our rats is a lot worse at fighting than each of their basic men, and they also outnumber us, which is a bad combination of things. 8's low. Let's gamble for some more wins. I would love some more wins. Okay. Ronald is with you. You got it up to 9. So, interesting. We can see the reinforcement flag. Their secondary army is going to show up right behind us. So the army that started the battle was the larger one, right? With these guys coming in right behind us, we can just set up our weapons teams in such a way that we are obliterating them the moment that they come onto the map. The Jezzail's like over here. Try to make sure that the Rattling guns are set up in a position where we can shoot the enemy right away, but also we're not blocking the Jezzails at all. I'm gonna stay out of their line of sight. Yeah, that's pretty flat. Actually, I probably want to move them forward just a little bit because of this little ridge area. The flatness of the ground, line of sight and stuff is such a huge pain in the ass when using gunpowder like direct fire units. The biggest advantage that bow type units have is that they don't need direct fire. They can arc shots over walls and hills and stuff. Alright. What is your ability over here? The Brass Orb causes minor magical damage, can disrupt formation, huge stationary area of effect. Okay, that's a thing that we will try out. We will also have our Doom Rocket available 45 seconds into the battle, and we'll be able to start summoning the Menace 45 seconds into the battle. I'm hoping that we'll have this situation dealt with by then. I'm going to move these guys over here to make sure we're not occluding line of sight. Okay, it's an alright start. We should probably have the weapons teams focus a little bit more on the units that are going to be harder for our melee to engage with. And you guys just do kind of this thing. Just charge forward. Skaven slaves are going to die here by the dozens. You know, whatever. That's what they're for. Now, let's talk about combat stats a little bit. Our man, Ikit Claw here, has 45 melee attack and 56 melee defense. This makes him not a great combat character, but still good enough to definitely go forth and get into a fight. You can see our actual wizard has 25 attack and 37 defense. He will get thrashed in melee, like very badly. Ikit Claw also has 407 weapon damage with a bonus versus large, and a lot of his damage is armor piercing, and he shoots fire, and he seems like a good character, broadly speaking. He also has 5 ammunition, which does flaming magical damage at 80 range, and just causes a huge amount of damage. Let's have him go after Marcus Hammerheim. Well, probably not in melee, but let's have him... Yeah, I mean, if I tell him to do this, he'll probably try to fire all of his ranged attacks first, right? And then we're going to want to micro the pseudo-cavalry unit over here. Actually, I'm going to have them come around this way, because they're probably going to be needed to break up the attack on the Jezzails. Stupid rattling guns. They're trying to run forward because the terrain's uneven and they don't quite have a shot. Trying to make those guys unhappy. No, see, they're trying to get close and set up again. Alright, let's execute a quick charge. Knock a bunch of them over, and then just go straight through if you can. What I want to do is disengage and charge again, rather than having them just sit in. Let's summon up our first group of clan rats right here. So the weapon teams need a little bit of support. Alright, we're going to have the Doom Flayers get over here. We're going to fire off some more Warp Lightning. I'm actually going to have the Doom Flayers chase these guys off. So like I said, sometimes ranged units, or sometimes retreating units will gather their courage and come back into the battle. If a unit flees past the white line at the edge of the battlefield, they are permanently out of the fight. Just make sure that happens, and then we're gonna push our Doom Flayers over here and do some charging into some flanks. Like right there. That looks like a good flank. Getting charged in the back is a pretty significant... I mean, getting charged at all is a pretty significant reduction in leadership. Charges in the back are especially dangerous. Right, our units are starting to panic and break. No big surprise there. And unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to get the enemy units to break because of the fact that our own units are retreating. I'll be honest with you, I was really hoping that we were going to have... Here, I should enable guard mode. This will prevent them from pursuing enemies who run away from them. Basically, what I actually want you guys to do is, like, move forward and line up here so you can just fire down along the line. And once they are there, it's safer for you guys to get to, like, here. And as our units retreat, it will open up a firing line for everybody. We have the other army incoming. I'm trying to save the Doom Rocket for them. Also, we have another charge of summonable rats, and I think we should employ it. And you, I was going to save some of this for later, but let's put this down right here. Let's see what this looks like. Does it have a cast time on it? It doesn't actually say. 13-second duration, 90-second cooldown. Alright, let's put it right here and see exactly what it does. So we're going to have the Doom Flayers back off so that they can get a good charge going. I mean, it seems to be doing some good damage to those guys. Alright, that should be enough distance. And just ride right through. And charge these guys. Alright, the Warlock Engineer needs to retreat. Our Lord can stand in combat against normal troops. I don't think he's in any real danger. Alright, and our warriors are rallying. That's going to be a thing with us. There's a lot of retreating followed by rallying and coming back into the battle. You guys need to not be in the direct field of the weapons fire. Alright, y'all, return. It's time to come back. Go get those dudes. Weapons teams are doing exactly what the weapons teams are supposed to be doing, and it's working fine. That unit of clan rats we had summoned has faltered. Let's try to make sure that we're not getting stuck in melee combat. I don't want my... Yeah, you can see Ikit Claw has defeated that unit of swordsmen. Here comes the real army. We gotta finish breaking these guys and get them out of here quickly. So you can see here we had a little bit of a cascade failure on their morale. That's a thing that happens. Let's talk about this real quick while I reposition us. We should probably try to take out those pistoliers real quickly. There's a lot of things that affect leadership, and we'll talk about the leadership system a lot over the course of the campaign because it's going to matter a ton. But one thing that often happens, and it'll happen with our army a lot, is that a unit seeing a nearby friendly unit break and run away suffers a leadership hit that can then cause them to break and run away, and then all other nearby friendly units are suffering 2 leadership hits, and so you'll see that cascade failure of the line sometimes, as everybody breaks and flees at the same time. That's what happened to our guys as well. So just in case you were curious how all of that happened to break that way simultaneously, that's just how it is. That's how the system works. These guys, the clan rats, are actually doing a fine job of keeping Marcus Hammerheim under control. Get Claw's about to have access to his thing. We have 3 charges left of free clan rats. We have the Doom Rocket. I am not yet confident that we are going to win, but we have a chance at least. All right, let's have the Skaven Slaves turn around and form a line. Here come the Doom Flayers to show Marcus Hammerheim who's boss, and then after they do that, they need to make sure they are pursuing these guys off the map. Here, get around behind them, so if they're running away from you, they're running toward the edge. Weapons team doing some fine work against those horses. Sorry, don't keep running. Just set up. Jezzails are doing the thing that Jezzails are for, though. Look at the range on those. Alright. Chase Hammerheim off. Let's get the clan rats back over here. Did you spend your ammo? He has 3 ammo left. So like I said, I think we're gonna try to wait until they are closer and like in melee combat so that they're not moving around before I fire the Doom Rocket. Because I don't want to have a chance of missing with it. One thing we definitely want to do is once they have their archers in place and start firing, we want to summon a unit of clan rats right underneath them. Clan rats are not good fighters, but Empire crossbowmen are even worse. Actually, you should be right up on top of us. I do want to ideally wait until they until the melee are out of there, though, because our melee will lose to their melee. So let's use the wizards to drop a little bit of lightning to disrupt the ranged fire until that moment occurs. We've got some good warp fire going in the right direction. That's working. That second lightning bolt didn't kill anything. Alright. The area of effect of one of these does not look super great. Alright, we need you guys to do that. You guys should back up. And the Jezzails are out of ammunition. So they should maybe come over here and just be protected. Yeah, we need the gun team to fall back a little. And I think the enemy units are far enough away that this works now. If this causes some of them to turn around and go back, that's like, I'm 100% cool with that. Yep, okay. So that'll stop them from firing for a minute while they're otherwise engaged. Wow, that was a quick break. Even for Skaven, that was a quick break. Okay, we don't quite have enough wins. So you can see here, the winds of magic, the globe tells us how much we can use. This little bar slowly feeds into the globe over the course of the battle. We need you guys to charge these swordsmen and then like through the swordsmen into the pistoliers. The pistoliers are becoming more of an issue than I was expecting. I was kind of hoping the Doom Rocket was going to have a larger area of effect. Let's wait for these guys to get a little bit closer. And here you can see our clan rats are doing their job. They're doing the thing they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, it's falling apart. It's a little bit falling apart. Yeah, I'm gonna stop running. We're just gonna fight back. Oh, you know, if those guys are... Yeah, go ahead and hit them, I guess. We should be able to kill these guys pretty quickly. We have a much greater volume of fire than they do. Pistoliers don't really do very good damage anyway. You can see they're thinking about fleeing. Don't you do it. I think you can go ahead and back up. Alright, so we got a temporary break over there. Our units are getting close to the edge of the map. They will not come back if they get off the edge of the map. You need to back out. We need to... Actually, need to stay right there. Maybe this is exactly where you live. Do we want to summon another unit of clan rats over here? Or over here? I think probably we do it right here. Let's distract these guys. Let the gunner team get out of there. This gunnery team is going to be vital to our survival. Yeah, come on, rally. Don't run out. Oh, Jesus. Well, that did the thing it was supposed to do. Weapon team over there. I did obliterate our warlock. So, it was not 100% what I was intending to do there. Oh no, please recover. Please recover. Get over there. Give them strength. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Yep. Yeah, okay, well, that's probably that then. Yeah, that's pretty bad for us, actually. Summon another unit of clan rats over here. Let's get the Doom Flayers out of there. So Doom Flayers are not for sitting and fighting. They are for charging into people. And they're doing that job pretty well. He's like run in on some dudes, do donuts on their faces, and then get out of there. Yeah, our units are too cowardly, unfortunately. Even these guys are having trouble winning a fight against those archers. Okay, sorry about the jump cut there. I had a crash my recording software. I need to... my PC needs a couple of upgrades. I actually have the hardware in the other room. I was going to wait until this weekend. Hopefully everything will hold together until then. But, so you can see here, we didn't actually lose the weapons teams. They managed to retreat out of the battle while still healthy enough. Our second warlock is dead. That's not that big of a deal because we had a better warlock. But basically, I just got over aggressive here. So, we have a couple of options now. It is now our turn 4. You can see when our army was defeated, it didn't lose everybody, and then it fell back out of battle. We do have a full-strength group of Doom Flayers. We could just go at it, like...
Sigma forbids this.
They have a fairly weak army overall. They have a fairly weak set of armies overall. We desperately need food. We don't have a Doom Rocket anymore. I'm seriously thinking about attacking Marcus Hammerheim here.
By Sigma, no.
Because we would get another full advancement phase of the battle, right? Like they would have to start way at the back of the field. So we would get to hammer their army with our ranged units again. Our Doom Flayers are still at full health. We might be able to carry off a battle that starts as us against these dudes. And if we don't do this now, his army's only going to get stronger. Unfortunately, we have no food to put into summonables here.
I'll ignore that.
Our weapons team, our Rattling Gunnery team is at about half strength, and the Jezzails are at about 3/4. I think we're going to go for it.
Warp power.
We're a little over-aggressive last time, so we'll solve that problem by being even more aggressive. There's also a small problem, or a small chance here, where stalking will cause us to ambush this army, and we'll just obliterate them for free, and then devour them. We got it, actually. The enemy failed to spot our ambush. Okay, and we've caused enough Skaven corruption in the region, I guess, just by being here and killing people, that we do get 2 charges of Menace below. So this is a free battle. Hooray for Skaven ambush tactics. So we'll be able to take out Marcus Hammerheim. Actually, I probably could have just auto-resolved this. But let's do this while making sure that we suffer no losses at all. Not a single Skaven dead. Not a single real Skaven dead. We can lose the summonables. So this is what an ambush battle looks like. I guess this is a good reason to do the battle manually, is that you get to see what an ambush looks like. We catch them while they're marching from place to place, so they're set up pretty poorly. We have a lot of control over the shape of the battle. Unfortunately, they're smart enough to be walking through the trees. I mean, is this smart? I don't know. There's a lot. I guess you could make some arguments about that. They can't see us coming, but also it does protect them from our projectiles. The battle engine's actually pretty complicated, and one of the things that happens in it is actually simulating the movement of every projectile in the air. A shot can only deal damage if it actually touches an enemy body. So tees are actually really good at stopping ranged fire for that reason. So I think our plan is we're just going to shoot down this alley at them. I'm going to have the Rattling guns scurry over to here, and then just fire down there, and we'll have you guys nearby. Put some of them over here. These are the dudes that are going to run in and protect the Rattlings from that side. You guys can be right there. Okay. This should be very fast and easy. Oh, I forgot to give the Doom Flayers a thing to do. Are they just trying to... I think they're just trying to flee into the trees. I mean, every moment that they screw around and don't come straight at us is a moment we get closer to summoning free rats who can die with no detriment to us at all. So I'm fine with that. What's the range on this brass orb? Oh, it's actually, like, considerable. Alright, go ahead and give me a brass orb right here in the place that they have to march through to get to us. So they're gonna try to not stand in the middle of that. Gives us more time. Drop some warp lightning on them right there. I might not have led that enough. Yeah, it actually takes a while to wind up. Oh, you know what? We still got several of them. Alright, free clan rats. Get those dudes. Let's try to burn down their lord here real quickly. Let the Doom Flayers get away. So once their lord dies, you see he's broken, he's in retreat mode. He did run up and murder one Jezzail team, which is annoying. But it should be easy enough to kill him. We can get a little bit of friendly fire there. Ikit Claw not being careful enough. Over here, we should probably drop some Warp Lightning, because the free clan rats did not get the job done. We can have the weapons team come up here. We are not going to get 0 losses, sadly. That was a little bit of a pipe dream. It's hard to win a battle with 0 losses. Summon another group of clan rats here to come up and hit this army in the back. You guys should get out of the way. Okay, they should break any moment now. Ikit Claw's got those dudes under control. He could use a little bit of an assist, though. Okay. Nice, easy victory. Let us devour the survivors. So I did say that in general, I think the game is relatively easy. I should note, I'm not an expert. There are a lot of people on YouTube who play Total War Warhammer a lot, who are way better at it than I am. Don't ever assume you're going to see optimal play here. That said, I do think it is tremendously fun. The battle system feels really good. So this might obliterate this army. Sometimes defeated armies will fall back with a portion of their people intact, but certain stances prevent that from happening, and also sometimes if a defeat is thorough enough, the survivors will just scatter to the winds. They will not cohere as an army anymore. We'll see what happens here. If this army is completely defeated, I'm not sure exactly what that means for us. We probably don't want to stick around to fight Lupio Sunscryer again, the major army in the area. Maybe we could, though. He's certainly weaker. Okay, so when you defeat... Alright, we got 1 point of food. When you defeat an army in the field, you get some options here. We can sell off the captives. You ransom them back to their people. We'll get a little bit of money, but our army will be upset that we didn't devour them, and so we'll lose replenishment rate. That's pretty bad for us. We'll talk about replenishment rate in a second. We could enslave them, turning them into food, and then also gaining leadership because our army is happy that we consumed them. Or we can just eat them and get a little bit of instant replenishment. Because we fought such a small army, the effect of this is pretty tiny. I'm going to take Enslave, I think. The leadership bonus will make our units less likely to flee in stupid ways during combat. And those guys did fall back. We killed Hammerheim, but the rest of the army is intact. I'm inclined to chase them down and finish it. Not least because it's a source of free XP. Alright, so now we have an actual decision to make. We have 2 skill points, and we have an awful lot of skill lines to pursue. So the blue line is mostly like map action stuff. This will make us better at doing stuff on the strategy map, increasing our chance of ambushes, lowering our recruitment costs, stuff like that. Eventually, it builds into some pretty powerful things, like a bonus to the level of all units upon recruitment, the ability to attack enemies and deny reinforcement, which is pretty useful, but it's a little bit less useful for Skaven, because ambush already denies reinforcements, so anytime we get an ambush roll, we're effectively getting no benefit from this. But the skills here get pretty good eventually. Renowned and Feared is pretty strong. It's not the case right now, but for the majority of the game, most of our spending will be on army upkeep, so things that reduce army upkeep will be very, very valuable. But I don't think that's where we're going with Ikit Claw. Ikit Claw has access to a line that improves his magic and gives him additional spells. I think we should definitely pursue that. Some Death Frenzy, some Scorch, maybe a little bit of Flensing Ruin. Unlimited power, that sounds like a good thing. Yeah, greatly improved power recharge rate. And then he also has a couple of unique lines because he is a legendary lord. So like plus 10% physical resistance for himself. And yeah, a bunch of stuff that makes him better at actually melee attacking. Followed by Adrenaline Rush, which is a pretty big boost to his damage. Ooh, and Second Wind Serum, giving him a heal. Yeah, that looks pretty good. You can also, eventually we can get this line going and make him a proper Doomsday Scientist, upgrade his Brass Orb into something terrifying. But I think let's start with magic upgrades. So we're going to gain a better level of Warp Lightning, and then because we did that, now we've unlocked this other box. Once we spend enough points in this box, we'll be able to move up to Evasion here, and then from Evasion to our really good spells. So I think that's going to be our first goal here. So what do we want? Musk of Fear affects every enemy on the map, reducing their melee attack and leadership for 8 seconds every time we cast a spell. That seems pretty good. We could take an upgrade to our Howling Warp Gale, which is the other spell we have. This, you can see here, it only targets flying units, and it just makes them unable to move. Sticks flying units in place. Not super relevant at the beginning of the game. There are not a lot of early game flyers. Death Frenzy gives one of our units a big melee attack and weapon damage boost. That's fine. And Scorch does major magical and fire damage. That seems alright. It costs 11 winds of magic, though. Let's pick up Musk of Fear first. We have a cheap spell that we can cast frequently, and we can get a lot of benefit out of this.
Ikit Claw has no equal.
So he only has 8 units in total. You can see his army is receiving replenishment because they are in friendly lands, and our army is not. Our army is not going to get any stronger out here. Let's go ahead and knock these guys out the rest of the way. I'm going to do this manually. We could probably auto-resolve this. We would win this if we auto-resolved it, but very damaged units have a habit of getting obliterated in auto-resolve when they wouldn't die in actual battle, and we can't afford to sacrifice those clan rats at this moment. Unfortunately, they're actually really important to our army. So we're just going to come after these guys and finish them off. An army can only successfully fall back from a failed battle once or twice a turn, so pretty good odds that on this defeat, this army will just disappear from the map. And then we might run away. We might just flee from Lupio. We might be able to beat him. It's possible. It's really hard to say. Okay, you know what I like about this battlefield is the flatness. Why don't you guys just do something like this? I'm trying to angle this appropriately. Okay, that's probably good enough. So we should move him over here. So you can see when we highlight a character, there's a blue circle around them. That is a radius. That is an area in which they give a bonus to the leadership of their units. So we want to keep him close to stuff to keep it from breaking and running at the first sign of trouble. Okay, and I don't know what we want to do with the Doomflayers just yet. Let's have them run over here. Jezzails get to start firing instantly. This is pretty bad news for these guys. Boy, they have quite a refire time though, huh? How close are they? This yellow line right here is the range of the Rattling Gunners. That's where things are going to get really ugly. They're holding up their shields like that's going to help. I don't necessarily intend to get the Doomflayers engaged on them here. I just want to make it clear to them that they are in danger. When there are enemy units behind a unit, that unit suffers some leadership penalties, even if they're not being fought. Aha, you fools! turn around. And you just get to spend more time in gun range.
March, retreat! Moving! Forward, backwards!
They should stop falling for this. This is embarrassing for them.
Yes!
I mean, to be fair, what are they gonna do? It's not like they have a good option. Alright, we're gonna go hit those guys.
Yes, master! Scary! At once,
It
master!
does feel a little exploitative. Okay. That's gonna be the end of that in just a second here. Go chase those guys down. Don't let them get away. Okay, these dudes are definitely dead. And we actually can stay in after the battle has officially ended and try to pick off specific enemy units in this way. And that sometimes will be a good thing to do. A lot of the time, once the battle has ended, you can just hit end battle. But if there are specific high-value enemy units on the field that might retreat, and you have something that is fast enough to catch them, it can be a good idea to chase them down and make sure they die. So you can see our weapons teams are leveling up. These little bronze chevrons on their unit picture indicate their level. They'll get to 3 bronze chevrons, then level 4 is a single silver. Then they stack up silvers until they get to level 7, which is a single gold. And once they hit 3 gold chevrons, which is level 9, they are level capped. Every time they level up, they'll gain a little bit of ability to hit enemies, a little bit of defense, accuracy in melee attack is what I mean by ability to hit enemies. I don't remember what else changes. They might get more hit points. They definitely get a lot more leadership. It doesn't increase all of their stats, but the difference between a low-level unit and a high-level version of the same unit is very noticeable in combat. Which would make it even more of a shame to lose these guys terribly fighting Lupio Sunscryer. So we're going to try to run away from him, I think. Alright, same deal here. I think we're gonna take the food again. We're starting to build up some food. What we're mostly building up is money. Or, sorry, not money, XP. We've also taken a man-thing slave. Like I said, we're the bad guys. Not all of the bad guyness of this game is the fun kind. There is also the other kind. Can we equip... Okay, we have him equipped. So, +4 leadership when fighting men. Obviously, very relevant in our current situation. Okay, and we have upkeep costs down for all of our gun units. That's totally fine. So we leveled up again. Let's take another thing. I guess we'll grab Scorch, maybe? Death Frenzy's even more expensive. What I really want is cheap spells, so that we can activate Musk of Fear as often as possible. Scorch is not that cheap, but it'll be good to have a second spell. Finished Ruthless Plans. Harsh Production Quotas is pretty good for us. +10 growth in all settlements everywhere. Devious Plans doesn't really do anything, but it does lead into Night Runner and Gutter Runner buffs. At plus speed for all infantry units, that affects us. We don't even have access to these units yet. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about Devious Plans. Let's get some production quotas going. And then beyond that, we're building into plus leadership for everybody, plus public order. Yeah, this seems like an okay line. So we have 9 units to their 8 units. Their units are much better and in better health, but we have Wizard. You know what? I'm not sure what I'm going to do. We might actually just go after them, but I think for right now, I'm just going to end this video here. That's going to be it for us for the moment. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back later today for another one of these. I'm definitely going to put up another hour of gameplay footage today. So, we'll see you then.